yellowtail. Chris, he's from the Montebello High School Fishing Club. He's also a good friend of the family. His parents live down the street, and his grandparents live down the street from my mom and dad in Montebello. Congratulations, a nice fish.
Thanks a lot.
Beautiful fish. We got a couple more fish hanging. We're out here with the high school club from Montebello High School, where I went to high school, and one of the guys helps out with us a lot, Larry. We both graduated from Montebello High School, and they have a fishing club going on their at their school. And I work real close to the fishing club, trying to take them out on a few trips. Today is one of those trips, and we're lucky the fish are biting. We got another yellowtail going right here.
Slow down, stop. Lift up easy. Head up, boy. Right down. Lift up easy. Head up, boy.
Okay, go over.
First yellowtail, son? This first one?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Nice fish. Congratulations. All right. Good job.
This week's episode of Sport Fishing is brought to you in part by Super Silver Thread. When it's time to change your line, it's time for Super Silver Thread. By Mustad, the fish hook people. By Lowry's, the difference is delicious. Bomber Baits for both fresh and saltwater fishing. And by Shakespeare, manufacturing America's best-selling rod, the Ugly Stick.
Having fun yet?
I'm trying to go and get this guy, that's all I know. I'm going to be relentless with these fish, just like fish.
Okay, we got a loose
Come on
line
this
over
way.
here.
Come this way.
Keep going.
Go, lift it up, hold the rod up.
Right. Don't give it any slack. There you go, just like this. There they go. Yeah, move it down. Oh, we got dogs in there. Fish are real close to the
Bringing our fish current, man.
you got a little
With your little pole bending to it.
a little tiki to it. Coming under.
Got a gap over here?
Gap right here. You got fish on that side of the boat. You gotta go all the way to the back of the boat.
Got 10 fish going. All right.
Thanks, Bob. Well, in the water. Okay. All right. There you go. First fish. Turn around. Turn around.
Turn around that way. All set. Nice and easy. There you go. All right. All right, give it. Left hand up here in front of the reel. You want to be smooth, just like this. Now lift up smooth. Easy, 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 easy. Fish wants to run, let him run. Okay? Keep it coming now. Lift up easy. Easy, easy. Put this in your gut. Right there, your rod, your belt buckle there. And you want to lift up easy, stop, and wind down.
Yeah.
See your line going this way, just follow it. Coming down here, Gabe. There you go. Good job. It's nice and easy and smooth. Wind down. Don't give it slack. You gotta wind faster next time. Okay? Lift up easy. Now wind fast, fast. Atta boy, easy. Now wind fast. There you go. Nice and easy. Don't try not to give it slack. There you go. Real easy and smooth. Good. Fine job. Slow down just a little bit. All right, perfect. Just like that. Let me get the gap. Okay.
Oh man, look at that one.
Nice and easy, guys. Take your time. Almost got him whooped. Reel him in, Ed. Good one. Good job, Ed. Give me my bag. Go, Ed. All right. Good job. First yellowtail, Ed?
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations. Hold him up to the camera. Excuse me, I got another fish up in the down there. Hey, you taking the poles? Yeah. Look this way.
Okay, this is Juan. He's one of the members of the Montebello High School Club. What grade are you in, Juan?
Nice.
He's a freshman. He's got this fish up here. Is this your first yellowtail?
No, thank you.
Second one today. Okay, here we go. Brighter color. There you go. Nice head gap, Danny. Thanks. Beautiful head gap there. All right, Juan. There you go. Congratulations.
Second one today, Juan.
That's the way an oiler does it. There you go. This is Juan. He's out here fishing with the Montebello Oiler Fishing Club. See your fish, Juan. Number 2. This is his first fishing trip ever, and fish number 2, huh? So I guess those little seminars they give at the school helps? A little bit? Maybe a tiny bit? All right, congratulations. All right, we'll get another one. All right, well, we got plenty of fish hanging here. We got a couple more fish on this side. For most of these guys and girls that are on the boat today, it's their very first fishing trip. Some of these kids are the older kids, the seniors. They've been on a couple of trips last season with us, fishing aboard the Gale Force. But we have a lot of freshmen today, and we got a lot of girls who joined the club this year. And hopefully soon we'll get them into some fish here. And put it back in the water. We got plenty of fish. Let's see if we get some more. Today in the tackle box, we're in Gardena, California at Arts Fishing Tackle. And standing next to me is Mark Lamson. He's a manager here. He's been in the fishing industry for many years. Me and Mark go back about 15 years. We've known each other. Thanks a lot for helping us out today.
My pleasure, Dan.
And Mark sees a lot of beginner anglers and a lot of longtime veterans too. And one of the questions we get asked a lot, Mark, is about hooks. People want to know, how come I'm using a bronze hook? How come I'm using sometimes a gold hook? You know, why the different colors and the different models and stuff. And we have a selection of mustad hooks here. I thought maybe really quickly we could let our viewers know the differences.
Sure. A lot of the basics, Dan, has to do with the color of the bait selection. In the days of when we used to use a lot of anchovies, you have a shiny bait, so therefore we use the shiny hook like a nickel hook when we're fishing. Nowadays, because of the different water that we've had in the last few years, it's mostly all sardines that we've seen. Sardines is a lot darker bait, has a brown back, so I think the bronze hooks have become more popular. We probably sell to the general public 5 packages of bronze hooks for every 1 package of nickel hooks nowadays.
And when we say bronze, that's just this color here.
That's the darker color hook, yeah, whether it be brown or whether it be, you know, some of the newer hooks have like a black finish, but a darker color hook, and maybe that also has to do with the squid Squid's a very dark colored bait. So that hook has to, you know, work in more than just one area of fishing. So we probably sell, like I say, 5 packages of a dark colored hook as opposed to a shiny hook anymore.
Now, a lot of the bigger hooks I noticed come forged, and this is a brand new Mustad hook here, and with their new packaging, saltwater hook. And the forged hook, I believe, is a little bit stronger hook. What's your feeling on that?
Well, in retrospect, most of the time a forged hook is stronger. And if you look at all the big game hooks in Mustad's line, even up through the 12-0 or 14-0, the big hooks they use for black marlin and stuff are a forged hook. So that is usually the stronger of the hooks. They don't have a tendency to pull out as easy. Some people think that, you know, a round hook doesn't puncture a certain hole like a forged hook, but I don't see a difference. I've fished both round hooks and forged hooks, and you don't lose any more fish using one hook over the other.
Now, this is our classic hook that I've always grown up on, the 94 150, the rounded hook. I use this probably about 90% of the time, but when I do need a super strong hook, or if I'm going for bigger fish, tuna, marlin, sailfish, I will move up to a forged hook. But it seems for the majority of Southern California fishing, this is the basic hook.
Sure, it's the basic hook because of 2 reasons. One, it's inexpensive. You can go out and fish barracuda and lose 10, 15, 20 hooks in a day, and you're not going to be $10 out of pocket expense on hooks.
Wow.
And that's a big deal when we're just fishing half-day boats. Not everybody, you know, is a millionaire that's out there fishing. Matter of fact, most of us aren't.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can use a less expensive hook that's going to do the job for you, you might as well, especially when we're going to throw away a hook every time we use it. And that's important. Most of the time, people have a tendency after they've been fishing to cut off a hook and put it back in the tackle box. You don't want to do that because you get fish slime, you get salt water. Once that hook goes back in the tackle box, it's going to ruin every other hook that's in that box.
That's
so
true.
Take your 2-cent hook, when you're done fishing with it, cut it off, throw it in the trash can. Don't throw it overboard. Just throw it in the trash can and go on and get another hook. Now, like you were talking about, when we go to tuna fishing, maybe we're going out and getting a shot at 1 tuna a day. You know, not always do we have a bite where we're going to catch 10, 15, 20 tuna. Most of the time, especially albacore, whenever I go fishing, if I catch 1, I feel my day's made.
Right.
Anything over 1 was always a bonus. So I'm going to use the most expensive, the best, whatever, if they call these now a designer hook is what we actually use terminology.
The new Mustad ones is the hoodlum hook.
The hoodlum hook,
Yeah,
right.
this is what we've been using this season. This is a very high-end hook, and I'm not quite sure if it's chemical treated, but it's treated in that it's way sharper than the normal hook.
Right, and that's one thing we haven't covered is sharpening hooks. Yeah, on a 2-cent hook, it's a good idea to sharpen the hooks. But if you're in an albacore bite or you're in a tuna bite where your first fish hits the deckhand wraps his leg around the line and breaks it off, you've got to go put another hook on. You don't have time now to also, besides tie a hook on, want to have to go file your, find your file, sharpen your hook, and cast it. So by going to these, like the new hoodlum hooks, they're already sharp. They're the strongest hook. You know, if you hang, in the middle of this albacore bite, if you hang a 45 or 50-pound bluefin tuna, you don't have to worry about the hook because you've got the right hook in the fish.
Yeah, and it's also good to remember, like Mark's saying about the cost of going fishing. If you're on a tuna trip and you're out there fishing, you're probably going to pay anywhere between $150 to $200 a day.
Correct.
So it's not a big thing to spend money on a package of hooks that maybe only 2 hooks comes in.
That's true.
I mean, that's proportion. If you're on your own little boat fishing locally, or if you're going to be on a party boat fishing half day and you're only going to pay maybe $15, $12 to go fishing, then yeah, I mean, I can understand why you get by with these hooks.
Sure, exactly.
And they're good quality hook. There's nothing wrong with them.
Absolutely not. They've, like you say, you and I have been using that hook since we were 5, 6, 7 years old, and it's still the most recommended hook by any of the sport fish captains. When you get their brochures from whether it's the Searcher or the Royal Polaris or any of the other fine boats in San Diego, that's the hook that's always listed first.
Okay, and the other thing I've noticed is they make an offset hook. Now, I like to use the offset hook when I'm fishing smaller lines and smaller hooks, maybe a size 4, sometimes a size 2. And usually anything over a size 2, I go to the regular straight hook, rounded hook. Do you have any preference on the offset hook?
It has to do with, I think, personal preference. I always liked offset hooks. I thought they did a better job of holding once you hooked a fish.
That's right.
In certain situations, though, when you have an offset hook, the angle of the hook is turned a little bit. Say we're fishing the slide for albacore. Well, when we nose hook that bait and we fish it on the slide, all of a sudden this angled hook now makes the bait spin, and we don't want that. So a straight inline hook will allow that bait to swim more natural. It won't have a tendency to twist it or force the bait to turn in a circle. So a lot of times when we're barracuda fishing, we may be pumping the bait back with the sinker. We're going to use a straight inline hook. But other than that, both of them are going to hold. And by the way, that hook that you're talking about that's offset is model 92677. That's also a forged hook.
Okay. And one last thing, when you come to a store to go buy your hooks, you see here at Arts Tackle, they have a large rack of hooks, and they have different sizes. They have the small packs for maybe you're not sure you need that size, but you don't want to go in the water and be caught without it, all the way up to large boxes of 50 to 100s. Some of these models, like this one here, the 94150 that we talked about, that we use all the time, I wouldn't be afraid to buy this in 50 or 100s. Maybe just carry it in smaller containers with you on the boat so that you're not getting your hands all wet and touching all the hooks and rusting them. Right. But there's also some specialty hooks, and this is a hook that I use a lot for surf fishing.
Right, that's what we bring it in for. It's basically what they call a wide bend hook. And it's one of the most odd-looking hooks that you'll see. And basically we use this for ghost shrimp, right, for fishing in the surf. And that's really the only reason we bring this hook in. Now you'll see occasionally people will use it for catfish fishing because of the bend, and they think once that it hooks the fish that it'll hold better too. But because of the natural shape of the ghost shrimp, this is the hook that's the most popular hook, and it's called a wide gap hook.
Right, so that's what I use all the time, it goes through. But that's one of the things I wanted to show you real quickly. We covered different colors, and we covered round hooks, forged hooks, offset hooks, and then even some specialty hooks. If you have any more questions, go visit your local tackle shop, or if you're in the area, come down here to Arts Fishing Tackle in Gardena, see Mark, and he'll be glad to show you even some more hooks, some specialty hooks you may need that we didn't show you today. Well, let's get back on the water and show you more exciting action here on Sport Fishing. This is Barbara. She's out fishing with us today. She's got a yellowtail. See down here, deep color. Coming right up.
There he is.
There's a line on the other side. Don't pull. There he comes, right here. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Barb.
I did it. Do you realize that's my first one?
Your first yellowtail?
That I actually got in the boat.
Congratulations. Here's the show back here. This is Barb. She's out fishing with us today with the fishing club from Montebello High School, and came out to help out, and she ended up catching a beautiful fish. This is your very first yellowtail, right?
It's my very first camp.
Great. She fishes a lot with her husband and kids, but her very first yellowtail. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Let's get another one. See if Kurt can catch one now.
Good catch. Hey, you work, huh? Girl. Yeah, girl.
This is Nancy. She's a freshman at Montebello High School. Earlier today, she had a problem pinning on bait. She didn't want to touch the sardines, but she doesn't mind touching the yellowtail, huh? The freshman, her first fish, very first fish, and it's a yellowtail. Beautiful fish. Congratulations. Now I got him right to the head. Do you like that?
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Years of experience.
Well, now when I eat it, I won't have that big hole in it.
Yeah. Now, anybody can gaff the fish in the body, but to get them right through the gill plate.
I can't believe you did that.
I was going to go for the eyeballs,
No,
but I
that
figured
was good.
that was pretty good there. All right, Kurt.
Hey, thanks.
Well, this is your first one for this season, huh?
Is this me?
For
Ahead of me
this
now?
season, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ahead of me?
No, this is his first one.
I gotta get
But yours is a lot bigger, Barb. Yours is about 18 pounds. This one's only about 10 pounds. Well, this is Kurt.
You
He's
can
out.
take the hook out of it for
Think I'm a deckhand? What's your number, sir? Well, we had a great time on the water today. These are all students from Montebello High School, from the Montebello High School Fishing Club. Of course, where I went to school, Larry went to school. Had a great time with all the kids, and we work with them, try to bring them out every once in a while. It's the first time we brought the TV camera out to show all the guys fishing. But you guys had a good time? Yeah. I'm Dan Hernandez, hoping you enjoyed this week's episode of Sport Fishing, and I hope you join us again next week when we go looking for more of the best in sport fishing. All right, guys, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.